So let's talk about what happens when two of the most powerful technologies on the planet decide to team up. We're talking about artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things. And this isn't just about another smart gadget. This is about fundamentally rewiring the physical world around us.
To really wrap your head around the scale here, just look at this number, 19 billion. That's the estimated number of active IoT devices that are out there right now at the end of 2024. This isn't some science fiction future. It's the massive connected web that's already here right under our noses.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll explore this world of sensors. Then we'll introduce the brain in the machine. After that, we'll see it all come together with intelligence in action. And finally, we'll take a look at the road ahead. Okay, let's dive into part one. It's time to meet the first character in our story, the Internet of Things. I want you to think of it as this giant sensory network for our planet. Basically, the digital eyes and ears that connect pretty much everything.
So, when you boil it down, what really is the IoT? Well, it's just this massive ecosystem of connected things. We're talking about tiny sensors buried in factory machines, tags on shipping containers zipping across the ocean, cameras in our cities, and all of them are just quietly gathering data, pushing it into this global digital bloodstream. It's the ultimate bridge between the physical and the digital worlds.
Any IoT system really has four main parts. First, you've got the sensors and devices themselves, the eyes and ears. Then there's connectivity, which is just the language they speak, like Wi-Fi or 5G. The edge and the cloud, that's where all the data gets crunched. And finally, data integration is how you make sense of all that noise. Now, on its own, this system is a brilliant observer. But just observing, that's only half the story.
Which brings us to our second character. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. It's time to meet artificial intelligence, the brain that takes all that raw data from the IoT senses, gives it meaning, and most importantly, gives it the power to actually do something.
You see, AI is what lets a machine do things we used to think only humans could pull off. Things like spotting a tiny pattern in absolute chaos, predicting what's going to happen next, or just understanding the context of a situation. When you have these massive rivers of data flowing in from billions of devices, you absolutely need an engine like AI to find the real signal in all that noise.
And this right here, this is the crucial transformation. Without AI, the IoT is just a very keen observer. It's great at reporting what is happening. But when you add AI into the mix, it morphs into a strategist. It doesn't just report anymore. It understands, it predicts, and it acts on what's happening, often before a human even could.
So how does it pull this off?
Well, mainly through tools like machine learning and deep learning. Think of machine learning as the part that sifts through data to predict the future, like a factory machine giving you a heads up that it's probably going to break down next week. And deep learning, that's its heavyweight cousin. It uses these super complex neural networks for things like scanning thousands of video feeds to spot one tiny defect on an assembly line. This is what turns a simple, reactive gadget into a proactive, problem-solving partner.
Okay, so we've met the team. IoT, the observer, and AI, the strategist. Now, let's see what happens when they actually get to work together out in the real world. This is where it gets really, really interesting.
This combo, which people are calling AIoT, is already making huge waves in key sectors. We're seeing it in manufacturing, healthcare, energy, transportation, even in the very fabric of our smart cities. Let's look at a couple of quick examples.
Take smart cities. You've got places like Barcelona using these dense networks of sensors to track traffic flow in real time, dynamically easing congestion. They've got streetlights that only turn on when a person actually walks by. I mean, this isn't just a cool convenience. It's using AIoT to sync up public services with incredible precision, saving a ton of energy and making things safer.
Or how about farming? The new farmhand is a drone loaded with sensors. AI crunches all the data from the soil and from what the drone sees, and then tells the farmer exactly where and when to water or use fertilizer. This kind of precision cuts down on waste, helps the environment, and seriously boosts crop yields. It's just a smarter, more sustainable way to feed everyone. And inside our factories, wow, it's a total game changer. Every machine kind of whispers before it fails. A tiny change in vibration, a slight bump in temperature. AI is what can hear those whispers. It predicts failures before they happen. And when you think about the fact that unplanned downtime costs big companies something like $1.4 trillion a year, this isn't just an upgrade, it's essential in shorts.
And the numbers, well, they really speak for themselves. The return on investment is crystal clear. Across the board, companies using AIoT are seeing maintenance costs plummet and operational efficiency shoot up. Even in something like cybersecurity, the time it takes to spot a threat is collapsing from weeks down to mere hours. This isn't just some tech fad, it's a real, measurable business advantage.
So the promise is obviously massive, and the results are already rolling in. But for our final section, let's talk about what's next. Because, let's be real, scaling this technology from a cool pilot project to a global network is incredibly complex.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question. We've seen all this incredible potential, but what are the hurdles? What do we have to overcome to really build this future of connected intelligence?
Well, there are 4 pretty big ones. First up, security. Every single one of those 19 billion devices is a potential backdoor for an attacker. Then you've got interoperability. Just getting devices from different companies to speak the same language is a huge headache. Third, the sheer demand for computing power and energy is enormous. And finally, there's a big skills gap. Finding people who truly understand AI, IoT, and cybersecurity all at once, it's tough.
So what's the solution? Well, a big part of it is something called Edge AI. The idea is simple: bring the brain closer to the senses. Instead of sending all that data to some faraway cloud server, the processing happens right there on the device itself. Think about an autonomous car deciding to slam on the brakes. You need that decision made in a split second locally. You can't wait for a round trip to the cloud.
And believe me, the industry is betting big on this. Global spending on edge computing is projected to hit $380 billion by 2028. This isn't some minor trend. It's a fundamental shift in how we're building intelligent networks, and it's all driven by the need for more speed, better privacy, and greater efficiency.
All of this really points to a clear evolutionary path. We started with simple automation, where machines just followed a basic script. Right now, we're mostly in the assistance phase, where they give us insights and we make the final call. But the end game? That's autonomy. We're talking about self-optimizing ecosystems that can act completely on their own, without us having to step in.
So what we're really watching here is a fundamental shift. AIoT is making the leap from being a helpful assistant to an indispensable strategist. It's becoming the central nervous system for our modern world. And that leaves us with one final, critical question. It's no longer a matter of if this technology will run our world, but how we, as its creators, are going to choose to guide it.